few quick questions before you guys get cracking along. Now, Team Ragnor, as we've said, losers bracket right now, a little bit tense. How are you guys feeling so far?
We've been feeling fairly comfortable so far in the losers bracket. I think we barely got sent to losers bracket. It was a fairly close game against RITD2, like in our first game, and I think we learned a lot since then. So I think we're feeling good.
Yeah, definitely. I'm hoping to see that attitude come forward. Now, since that loss to RITD2, was there anything you guys have kind of been working on improving or trying to, I guess, utilize in this upcoming game?
We've definitely been trying out some quad or triple DPS comps. We're not the most adept at that since not a lot of our players are DPS mains, but we've still been experimenting some.
Well, as a caster, let me be the first to say thank you. I know that I love seeing goats being broken up. It's so much more interesting and fascinating to watch and talk about. So I'm looking forward to that if you guys end up bringing it out here. Now, you said you don't have a whole lot of powerhouse DPS players on your bench. Is there anybody we should be keeping an eye out for as these games go along? Just to kind of perhaps give the viewers at home a concept of who to keep an eye peeled for?
I guess our two DPS on the team are Spark game, which is me, and then Goofum. Goofum's pretty good. He was a GM support main, but now he's playing DPS for our team. He's pretty skilled at DPS, and TubeSock is a pretty smart off-tank player, I think, so he can make some big plays.
Well, of course, there you have it, chat. Spark, Goofum, and TubeSock might be some ones to watch out for. Keep in mind for that MVP vote. Now, Spark, we'll go ahead and let you get back to your team here so y'all can get prepped for this next game. Anything you want to say before you head out?
Just thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, and best of luck in your game today.
All right, see you.
Now, Threep, we are going to be going into Lijiang Tower here. It seems like every week, at least once a week, we talk about the effects of going into Lijiang Tower, and if we have any regulars in the chat, they'll know that I always talk about the potential to see Pharah, especially on that Gardens map. What do you think, Threep?
Love me some Pharmacy. I think I was harping about this the last time I happened to have the privilege of casting for you folk out there, but yeah, the Pharmacy is super nice. That's also if we get to go to that particular section of Lijiang Tower, the rounds being randomly seeded, so to speak. So I always like getting out there. The Ryan Zari I like seeing on the control center map in particular, despite the prevalence of the composition. I like seeing what teams do in that choke, mostly because, man, I've been there as a tank player, and it feels good. It actually kind of does.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised we haven't been seeing as much Mei on that control center as I would have expected. Mei can be a very powerful choice when it comes down to locking off that essentially one choke area right out of the spawn ship. So I'm kind of curious to see if maybe that'll be something that changes, or if maybe the tactics are to just kind of brute force the way through there, kind of still hold aggressively, but just with a full tank line instead of the Mei swap.
Yeah, super curious. And honestly, yeah, Mei almost counts as like a half tank, right? She's got so much healing, so much sustain. Uh-oh, it looks like despite my earlier admonishment, we are going to be heading over to that Pharmacy-centric map, which you can also see some really decent Sombra play.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the health kits in here can be pretty valuable. You get them hacked, you can really kind of maneuver around them, particularly the one in the little building to the cliffside. That mega health kit, not really utilized that much, which makes it a good escape point for a Sombra should she get pressured out and focused down with that translocator. But I think we are still waiting just a few more seconds to see what these teams are going to run. Overall, I'm giddy as can be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And after the first weekend of the Overwatch League is now over, we get to see, okay, now we have access to those pro strats that at least have been revealed so far. And I want to see if any teams have been picking up on it. Namely, there's been some Lucio play. And I think a lot of teams are starting to see now, okay, Lucio's always been a pretty solid pick and absolutely essential to these compositions. But they are much more of an offensive character, I think, in these situations than most people give him credit for.
Yeah, on maps like Gardens Lijiang, you have really two advantages to Lucio. Not only do you get the speed boost, which is essential on those King of the Hill maps, we talk about it all the time, but also there's a lot of environmental knockoff potential. We've seen so many Reddit clips of Lucio's using that speed boost to really get up in the team's face and boop a Reinhardt or boop a McCree off the map, and I think that might be something to keep an eye out for.
Oh yeah, and as both teams comes out, I want to emphasize there's not a single Reinhardt to be seen. Everyone adapting the power of the Winston D.Va here to their compositions as the fight gets engaged. With one Winston, there we go, diving in into the back, gonna get focused down before he can really get any damage done, and that's going to be over on the left in blue. Cardinal eSports taking a little bit of a lead, early lead here.
Yeah, and perhaps Beach playing a little too aggressively, diving in, maybe not with the rest of their team, especially when you have those high impact DPS players, or those high damage capable DPS players, Guffum as well as Spark, we mentioned them earlier. You'd like to see them focus with the Winston and really kind of get that punch all at the same time.
Yeah, also I want a big shout out to Guffum. Tracer in my Overwatch in this day and age, more likely than you think, but I think it's also going to be US Miller on that Hammond doing some incredible work. Look at that ult charge. Tracer getting her pulse bomb off in a few seconds, not surprising. Hammond having mines, very surprising.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you definitely have to give a lot of credit. US Miller able to roll down these hallways that are basically just hitting the enemy team like bowling pins at this point.
And he gets napped away, and the bowling pin's fighting back, but he gets out of there alive. Reinhardt now in the game, going to throw a charge into Hallgoat. They are going to get out with their lives. Here comes the mines coming out, and with the barriers to solidify this fight, it's going to be very difficult for Ragnor to make any headway on this point.
Yeah, US Miller really utilizing those mines properly. As soon as the D.Va and Brig walk through the entrance into the point, they drop Miller drops the mines on top of them and really prevents them from being healed. Almost got Swifty in the mines too. Swifty barely able to kind of maneuver before the mines go active. So yeah, crucial play.
And there he is, already well on the way to generating his next set of mines. 40 seconds left for the hold now for Cardinal eSports, and I'm not sure what Ragnor is going to do about it. They have the ingredients for a recipe for victory, but I'm curious if that trans is going to throw a bit of a stone in their soup.
Yeah, it may be the case where Jenks tries to keep the trance for Spark's grab, which is still a ways off, so they may not have to worry about it for a while, but we're just going to have to see here as the play goes through.
Oof, and a shatter goes right into the mines. That's going to take this fight and knock it down for a bit. There's that pesky little trans we all saw coming, but it's going to be Beach who grabs the Brigida first, and that huge quantity of sustain being knocked out is massive. However, there goes Hallgoat's bomb, and not going to get anything. This is Ragnor's big opportunity. He picks apart the Zenyatta, and now their frontal assault has begun.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very well played by Ragnor to not lose any folks in that mid-fight when all the ults are going off. We saw the D.Va, we saw the trance, and the mines as well now coming out, and just some disciplined play to not take those L's too early in the fight.
Oh yeah, and that's 2 mines in 1 fight, which is going to let Cardinal eSports take that point all the way to 99%. With no ults to show, though, Ragnar's in a very good position to take this all the way to their own 99.
Yeah, indeed, and it's certainly going to be looking that way. It's pretty much do or die for Ragnor. Ragnor going to have to be holding pretty steadily, but Miller, as we've seen, can cause a lot of disruption that can really throw them off their groove, and they cannot afford that.
Speaking of that boopio, there goes Unicorn grabbing a Brigida pick very early in the fight. It's going to be up to Ali, who dropped his Primal into this to try and regain something out of it, but he's down. D.Va went first, and that's going to be another retreat now for Cardinal eSports.
Yeah, and props to Swifty for being able to land that Sleep Dart onto Ollie. He didn't stay asleep for very long, but still, when you take 2 seconds out of a Winston's Primal Rage, despite your teammates shooting him the very last second, it's still cutting down about 20% of his primal rage time, and that can still be crucial when it comes to these high environment kills that he's capable of.
Oh yeah, massive. Here we go. US Miller going to be dropping into the fight a little backwards of the team, and here they go though. The Grav comes out, Spark dropping it right into the middle of the fight. There goes the D.Va Bomb combo we've been seeing all weekend, and bam! Despite Beach taking a quick dive in the holographic pond, this fight definitely going for Cardinal eSports, or rather Ragnor. Cardinal eSports, however, running out of fights.
Yeah, Ragnor really kind of utilizing that grab, not only to get the kills, but to build ults on their side as well. Beach was at 66%, if I remember correctly, by the time that grab came out, and now they're at full shatter, so it's really just using one ult to really synergize with another.
And there it is, Miller getting the work done on the Hammond, going straight for the backline, gonna get the Ana, but that's a massive shatter coming in, and they're gonna get the follow-up. Hallgoat gets D-Mac charge going on to Lucio, healer's down, Ollie falls. This is probably gonna be the last major fight of this map, and I think Ragnor just proved it. There they go, taking it all the way to the overtime.
Yeah, and I don't think it can be understated how Beach was kind of the breadwinner in that fight. Getting the hammer down, knocking down the 2 tanks, the Winston and the D.Va, and then taking out, I believe it was 2 of the supports, the Lucio, as well as, I want to say maybe the Brig, with the very decent pin. So overall, I think that Beach performing fantastically.
Oh yeah, beautiful showing, jumping away from the Winston there, no pun intended. They saw that it wasn't really doing the work that they needed it to, and rather than go up against Ali, who was honestly doing a pretty solid job on it, going over Beach, going over to the Reinhardt, again, getting those big slams, that's going to be what punches it through. And here we go now, the other map that we were talking about earlier, Choke Hold Central, or as some people like to say, Command Center. Same amount of CC going on.
Yeah, and now, as you said, it will be Cardinal playing that Reinhardt, which means they're going to have a lot more Earth Shatter interplay. There's going to be Beach and Ollie both trying to mind game each other, drop shield, keep it up right when Reinhardt shatters to try to nullify its effects.
And the fight has begun up in that upper area there. Reinhardt's go charging into each other. That's not going to really have a lot happen, but it's going to be Janks who's going to pull off Beach first. Guffum goes down with the Discord on him. That's not going to be the one that goes next. It's instead going to be up, and here it is, Swifty with support from almost every member, and getting that May that Sir Waltham was so happy to see.
Yeah, indeed. And really, it's surprising to see the fight kind of turn out like this with Cardinal getting so aggressive, because the very first action I believe we saw come out of Ragnor was to get a very fat nade onto, I believe it was 3 members of Team Cardinal, but Cardinal managed to maintain composure, not take too much excessive damage until it wore off, and then get that healing spread out across the entire team. Overall, just that's how you recover from a fat nade.
Yeah, and it was a huge timing to get Miller having that rally come out. It's an ult-pocalypse on the point with the May ult, however. The trans, thank goodness that came out when it did, because the May ult was there, but unfortunately Spark took a lot of aggro for that. And yet, Ragnar's still going to be coming out ahead. Ali being the first Reinhardt to go down, leaving Beach with his massive hit point shield ready to run about the map, though he also falls, and it is now a full-on brawl.
Yeah, right now going very back and forth. Beach almost anticipating that Transcendence, trying to take out Jenks of the Transcendent, or out of the grab beforehand. Not quite able to. Jenks able to pop that Transcendence, saving his own life as well as everybody in the grab. Crucial play by the Zenyatta player there.
Big slam goes in, and it's going to be Solar going down first, or rather Spark. Unbelievable is going to get caught and eventually taken out. Massive trans, though, going to get taken very far off the map by Beach, who finds the one solid method of killing a transing Zenyatta.
Yeah, diving off the map, even if it does injure yourself, going to be taking out that Zenyatta, ending the trance. You know, at least that Zenyatta has to come back from point. Does have the slowest move speed, no movement abilities, so it's just going to be the slow slog. Pillow perhaps going back to ferry them a little bit, but overall, you can't blame Beach for that play.
Getting a little bit of that, you know, thumb in the cheek kind of thing, thumb in the nose rather, but the grab now comes out. That's a much more real thumb in the nose with dueling grabs now on the point, but again, it's going to be Beach charging and going to get the first pick. They have slightly bigger chance now to get dominance on the point as their own rally comes in. Nano boost in full force as usual with TubeSock and Beach going crazy.
Yeah, Beach, I think, is one of the more charge-happy Reinhardts we've seen. I believe 2 charges came out of that, one onto Spark and the other onto, one onto Pillow and one onto Solar, if I'm not mistaken. And overall, I think that it's working now, but Swifty definitely have to be committing a lot of resources to keeping Beach up with these aggro plays. Who knows how long it'll pay off for.
Yeah, we see the same thing happening again on this point of Lijiang Tower. The Cardinal eSports take it all the way to 99%, and now it's up to Ragnor to hold and maintain it. And this time around, it doesn't look like that's going to work out too well for them. Hallgoat's going to start this fight off by punishing a very ambitious Beach. A big, nice shatter going in. Guffum's going to go down next. There goes the Lucio. Ain't looking good for Ragnor, who have to throw a bomb onto the point to try and stall.
Yeah, and it's just like I said, Beach tries to go for the pin, gets shield bashed by the Brig, he's down, the Brig gets the bubble from the Zarya, and the focus fire can essentially just come through for him. Just massive.
And oof, here comes Ragnor, ready to take the point back, or rather keep it from falling into the hands of Team Cardinal eSports. Though I don't know if that'll be possible, even though Guffum has switched on to that very popular tracer that they're so fond of.
Yeah, it's definitely looking just like the stagger game right here. With Solar Oracle going down, that's going to buy quite a bit of time that Guffum will just have a little bit more free reign on the point.
Yeah, Guffum being so hard to catch, they're finally going to get caught out. The point flips back to Cardinal eSports. Really bad stagger kills coming in. Peach the only one left. The overtime is real. And now Unicorn Syrup going to dash right onto the point, only to get stunned, smacked, and slammed.
Yeah, ideally, it was a solid stall out still from Ragnor. It just did not look like enough. Really, the Tracer staying on point for a lot longer than perhaps Team Cardinal should have allowed. But there you have it. They still were able to pull it out. So in the end, that's kind of what matters the most, is just getting that point on that board.
Yeah, and now we get to see all 3 Lijiang Tower maps, courtesy of the best of 3 scenario we got going on here. So, if I am going to allow myself to get debated for a second, if Guffam actually comes out on this Reaper, that could be quite the shakeup that they need.
Yeah, and Guffam on this Reaper makes a little bit of sense. This map, not the most long-range friendly, which is where Reaper is really at a supreme disadvantage. In fact, having essentially 4-5 points of entry onto the main point also allows the Reaper to just handle one of those chokes and barrel stuff the enemies as they come in and really just deal massive damage, healing himself. It's the same old Reaper buffs that we've talked about having been in the game for the last 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, especially now with that shield coming out by Ollie a little too much. It's looking not too shabby. They're going to go charging in to compensate for it, and that's actually going to work out for them with Beach getting taken out and Ollie taking Swifty away to the water below. And this fight's going to go for Cardinal eSports, who maintain a pretty solid man advantage throughout.
Yeah, this has certainly seemed like the game where Ryans are happy to take supports off of ledges, as we saw Swifty going to be Swiftly falling off that ledge, courtesy of Ollie. But overall, perhaps perhaps Beach telegraphing that charge a little bit too much, able to get shield bashed by US Miller, meaning that they don't have any charge to counter against Ollie's, basically allowing them to take that support off the ledge.
Yeah, I can't honestly say that there was the super greatest option, but the Shadow coming out here, definitely going to say that was the super great option. Again, Ollie though misses that charge, and unfortunately without their presence on, that's going to be a huge turnaround for Team Ragnor, who after unleashing 3 of their well-coveted ultimates, Ollie's going to pick up the little fallback kill on the Zarya. That's going to be proving nothing more than a stagger.
Yeah, really, Ollie had a great opportunity there, and they took it. To be fair, they did take it. Beach charging in a little too deep to try to get the pin onto, I believe it was the Zarya by Hallgoat, and then Ollie shatters the entire team. I believe it was 4 members down, but the follow-up wasn't there, and then by the time Ollie moves in to clean up, Beach is able to shatter onto the enemy team, and it's just a back and forth of shatters.
Yeah, it's filthy. Speaking of filthy grabs, Bastive grab comes in, but unfortunately there's no follow-up. And instead, now it's going to be super grab bomb time for the Cardinal eSports, who pull it off, get 2 kills. Guffam goes absolutely crazy, has yet to be removed, and keeps Cardinal eSports from taking the point back.
Yeah, getting that Reaper Death Blossom, very potent in this situation. A massive amount of healing can be done depending on the number of targets you're around. But despite getting brought very low, Guffam going to do their best to save it. That is impressive considering the Diva Bomb grab combo that they just experienced.
Yeah, that's crazy. Again, the sustainability and sheer DPS of Reaper definitely can't be underestimated when you're running literally his favorite food right into him.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is, as I said, a comfortable place for Guffam to play, just being able to spot where the tanks are going to be, post up near those chokes, and then just feed on him. Absolutely. Even if Ryan holds his shield up, it will only last so long.
Speaking of keeping your shield up for Reinhardt, one shatter goes in, but it misses the Ryan, allowing the other one to come back out. Cardinal eSports is going to pick up on that immediately. Grabbing Zenyatta, Guffam fell very early on, and wow, Cardinal eSports ferociously taking this point back.
Yeah, Swifty, it seemed like, used that Moira ult a little post-de facto. After, I believe, the 2 kills had gone through, the Coalescence came out trying to keep up the rest of the members of the team. I think that you may want to have saved it for the attack instead, really kind of enforce damage as well as healing if you can get your entire team focused into essentially a spearhead. But we'll see if they'll end up getting it back anytime soon.
Yeah, this is now a little bit of a change of pace. Normally we see Cardinal eSports coming out all the way to that 99%, but instead it's going to be Guffam running into the backline, and a Discord on that Reaper means he goes down. But amazingly, it's a 1-for-1 trade. But Ragnor are going to be following up, because when that Reinhardt goes down, your team is exposed.
Yeah, and I mean, pretty much Pillow, it's going to be a gasp of breath trying to keep the point active with that sound barrier, but it doesn't look like it's going to be doing much. I mean, Lucio pretty much the best stall character, especially against perhaps less mechanically skilled players, but not going to buy too much time here.
Now, interesting situation, as that would have been a good opportunity for Cardinal eSports to get some stall out, maybe get that point back up, but now it's Team Ragnor, who forced them away in a team fight they couldn't afford to lose. The ticker's going down. Zarya has to jump onto the point just to keep it, and they're going to get focused down so quickly. Now it's going to be big, speedy spot comms coming in, and Ollie can't stand up to that discorded Reaper.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ollie trying their best, but just not quite going to be able to deliver. Jenks having to pop that Transcendence in the grab just to stay alive. That is an ult you'd really like to use when your team is cohesive, and in that case, just not able to be by
Yeah,
Cardinal.
and there it is. Ragnor takes Lijiang Tower after some incredibly close points.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think either team has to walk away from this game feeling particularly bad about the way that game went. It could have just as easily gone Cardinals' way, I think, if perhaps the teams were a little bit more cohesive, if the character picks were maybe a little bit more appropriate. But really, the Rhine aggression in this game has just been kind of the talking point in my mind. Just absolutely, when one Rhine charges, the other Rhine knows to shatter, and vice versa. It's impressive.
Yeah, both Reinhardts strutting their stuff, rather, demonstrating that we're probably going to be seeing a lot more of them as this game goes on, and I can see why. Despite the initial Winston early matchup, these Reinhardts are demonstrating, again, yeah, their timing is down, and that when one of them is missing from the team fight, that team fight does not go well for the missing Reinhardt.
Yeah, and it's good that you say it that way. It's not when one Rhine dies, it's when one is missing from the team fight. There have been times where I believe, particularly of note, it was Beach, who would go for some pretty mad charges, to be quite frank, and then get stunned, and then launch himself across the map. And then it would just pretty much be Ollie facing the other 5 members of Team Ragnor. And that's the fattest shadow you can wish for, once the Rhine has left the game. So it's not about getting the kills. It's almost about kind of trying to bait the aggro in these kinds of situations to really negate the shielding and allow your Earth Shatters to flourish.
Oh yeah, and the classic opportunity of this 3-3 composition is going to be isolating that hero. And if isolating the hero means going after that Reinhardt, whoo boy, is that a tasty target. Pop the Discord on him because he's going to drop that shield to swing at some point in time. And then, yeah, he's down, fight win.
Yeah, and as we look forward to what potentially might be some compositional changes by the way of hero bans as well as map bans, it looks like Ragnor is going to choose to save Lucio, but Horizon Lunar Colony, once again, for what feels like the 10th game in a row, going to get banned for this series.
However, Sir Waltham was making some predictions before we got started here, and the prediction definitely comes true. Eichenwald is our next stop on this lovely little train of Overwatch.
Yeah, and once again, banning Reinhardt. Now, as I said, I've gone on a little bit about the aggression from Team Ragnor with this Reinhardt. So it seems like kind of a gambit that Cardinal is choosing to ban the Reinhardt, because I think that Beach has definitely shown that there are some opportunities where they just get a little too carried away with the giant German man, and perhaps that's exploitable. But to see that Cardinal's perhaps electing to get rid of the strength as well as those flaws leads me to think that they have a little bit more faith that the Winston play is not going to be as great from Beach.
That's a fair point, because yes, we do see that ban coming in as a reminder. Only the team that won the previous match is subject to that ban, which means Team Ragnor, now defending in the blue, is going to be bereft of their lovable German. And yeah, when the two teams were clashing, Ragnor, once they switched off that Winston, it was pretty smooth sailing for them. They suffered a bit of a loss there, but ultimately it was Beach being able to utilize that rocket hammer that saved the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're talking about these massive plays that these players are going through, now seems like a perfect time to remind everybody at home, don't forget to vote for the MVP. If you think these tanks are playing out of their mind, then absolutely show them some support. Vote in the chat. Should see some options available for you. Or if you think maybe the DPS or the supports aren't getting enough love, then definitely show them as well. Either way, we look forward to seeing what you guys think were the best plays and seeing perhaps just how wrong we were in hyping up the tank play, or how right. Occasionally we get it right.
Just remember, the casters are, as I think we've all proven over the years, casters are actually the opposite of infallible. We see a lot of fun play coming out from all the teams, and we're super happy to see it. But the Jebaited is a meme for a reason, people.
Absolutely, it is. It is both caster curse and caster cursed sometimes when it comes to our predictions. But enough of the fun and games here, Threep. We're going on to Eichenwald with a Rhine ban onto Ragnor. How do you think they're going to play this?
Ribbon Reinhardt. This, however, is a great option for a tank we haven't actually seen come out yet. That is to say, 2 of them. There is the pulled pork combination, which I swear to God, whenever I whenever I say that, I'm not hungry, but every time I say it, I get really hungry.
Well, I'm sure that is optimally the kind of comp you would want to use if you're not allowed to use Reinhardt's and you just want to bunker down and get hungry for some kills, because those one-pick potential is so massive from the Orisa Roadhog. As we go on and on about, Orisa able to just dislocate perhaps one or two enemies, and then the Roadhog able to utilize that to a staggeringly effective degree. But as we see the team comps come out, it looks like that might not be the potentiality here from Cardinal. Or,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, from Ragnor.
Instead, Ragnor electing to go with that very punchy, possibly hinted at earlier in the stream, quad DPS, with Beach leading the charge on Hammond. Now, we saw US Miller doing some crazy work. I am super pumped to see what Beach can pull out.
Yeah, indeed. I think that they may have to be a little bit competitive here, show who is the better Hammond. But I think that both players right now can definitely have potential to be the best.
And there they go, ripping right into it. And that's going to be a huge early kill. And the massive pile driver going in. Beach already forcing down Hallgoat Zarya. Very punchy composition. And it's going to be so effective that Solar Oracle just dives off the map, not 30 seconds in.
Yeah, Beach, I would like to highlight the ult charge for right now. Usually in these types of comps, we see that the Junkrat gets ult so quickly. In a Goat's comp, he can just funnel a bunch of burst damage onto the team. But Beach already having those mines up, essentially by next fight, is actually going to force a swap out from Cardinal. In fact, a large swap coming from, that might hurt their ult economy, but overall, I don't think Beach's effectiveness can be questioned here yet.
Yeah, really solid stuff, especially Spark now playing on that Soldier 76, a pick we don't really see all that option. It has some slight bursts, some slight constancy, but yeah, now we see almost a no-shields composition, but boy is it ever working out for Ragnor, who despite the lack of the Reinhardt may actually be benefiting from missing that giant shield.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, if anybody's mouth is going to be watering on Team Ragnor from this, it's going to be Goofum, because that Sombra can get so many hacks, so many prime targets. There was the Hammond, there was the D.Va, who, once there's no Matrix, is just a giant pincushion. Ollie, once they're hacked, unable to extract effectively. So a lot of potential targets I think that Guffum's going to be looking to play around here.
Oh yeah, and if you don't feel like choosing between one of them, you can just pick all of them. And I think Guffum is going to be looking forward to dropping that EMP in the middle of this fight. Unfortunately though, Swifty is going to get focused down and Beach is going to follow. With only 4 DPSs left, this might be a bad situation for Ragnor.
Yeah, it will actually be the 3 DPS and the Lucio. However, Unicorn Syrup not exactly a non-intimidating foe here, and the EMP coming out, we're gonna see how it shakes out.
And again, the casters got jebaited, or rather, Threepwood got jebaited, because holy moly did that surge come back, with Swifty dodging right back onto the point just in time to bring their Lucio back online, and holding the point and not even giving up a single tick.
Yeah, and Beach, yeah, they went down first, but Hammond's one of the fastest characters in this game, and with the Mercy tagging along, they're going to get to point relatively quicker than even maybe a Winston could.
Yeah, that's bonkers. Just, again, they have such a, like you said, a very low cooldown on their cable, and it is a massive point, especially to drop those mines, and that's going to get some kills, pulling the Brigitte first, and it's going to be a transcending Zenyatta, tossing their ult out to get rid, possibly just to get rid of the mines, and that's not necessarily the use you really want to spend on that very powerful ability.
Yeah, and the Brigitte not being able to be with her team means that the team won't have the rally immediately for this offense here. Going to be behind quite a bit, and when Brigitte gets separated, her kit becomes so much less effective.
Oh yeah, and bam! It's giving me a little bit of back and forth with a very high D-loot Zarya, who is going to be trying to heal up as best they can. Guffum gets resurrected back into the fight, solidifying the man advantage that Ragnor has, as Beach just goes ripping in and out of the fight without getting caught at all.
Yeah, and this D.Va bomb might be crucial, and not as crucial as that Junkrat tire, it seems.
Yeah, diving in there, the D.Va managed to pick up the Lucio, but it's going to be other explosives coming out from Tube Stock that really seal the deal.
Yeah, and one thing we noticed there was Beach getting that ground pound really caused Solar Oracle to really try to focus them, put the shield bash onto them, but that gave Swifty the opportunity to res, and that was pretty essential. That res really helped swing the fight. It's helped stabilize the manpower of Team Ragnor, and I think it was the shot in the arm they needed.
Yeah, definitely. And Beach, once again, coming in and out. They've got their minds already just about coming up in this fight as soon as they get a little more charge. And there it is. But here's the big barriers now coming in with Ali switching on to the Widowmaker, looking for some of that pick kill. Guffum goes down very early on, but it's going to be Mines on the point that's going to be stalling them out. Guffum gets res, bringing the man advantage back in line. And Spark is going to toss out that ult, and they're going to pick up even more kills. And the point is clear.
Yeah, and one person worth talking about, we've been talking a lot about tanks lately, but Spark on this tactical visor, taking the high ground, pressuring Jenks, I believe it was, into the side room next to point, so not really able to peek out without the threat of being blasted by rockets and bullets. So really just some solid play coming out from that DPS player. As well, the tactical visor, we saw get a couple kills, but really that Zenyatta pressure, I think, is what helped a lot.
Oh yeah, that was insane. And Zenyatta, who can't keep line of sight to his targets, both his heal and his Discord, means that, yeah, when you're getting forced into a room, Zenyatta is functionally useless. And Spark cleaning up the point there with attack visor. Soldier 76 doesn't see a lot of pick, but boy, does he have value when used correctly.
Yeah, and especially as you probably hear me talk about a lot, that high ground with hit scan, so crucial. And I think that seeing that was kind of a masterclass on why high ground can be so effective. He didn't even, Spark on that soldier, that is, didn't even have to drop down to get the kill on the Zenyatta, still rendering the Zenyatta ineffective just by maintaining that position, not allowing him to peek out.
Oh yeah, bonkers play, and it looks like despite the bonkers play coming in, I think that's going to be Cardinal eSports going to a semi-reliable composition for this map. But yes, bless my heart, Jenks is there on Torbjorn with US Miller. It's an engineering team.
Yeah, and this certainly has its merits. Not so sure about how it's going to play out for the defending team here. Usually, back in the olden days, we used to see Torb get a lot of utility if he was able to maintain that first offensive push. Then his armor would be up, his ult would also be close to popping, but now it's just the ult, which has a lot more value, but we're gonna have to see if they can even withstand this first push.
Yeah, the combination potential that he has with Zarya is pretty high, but with Ragnor switching away from their earlier composition and just going to a very divey Winston favoring a 3-3, supported by the Moira, they're going to have so much healing on their side. And, ooh, there it is, though. Tubesot getting DMEC first in the fight. That's going to be difficult to see if they can stay in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Torb actually can be used to kind of catch the dive a little bit, popping that E ability, that overdrive ability. But as the kills are coming through, it looks like the Torb is actually going to be reliable enough. US Miller, of course, providing the defense with that proton barrier. So really able to just let the team kind of kite and rotate as they need to.
Yeah, something to be said for just having some constant sources of DPS on your side. Also, holy moly, US Miller on the Symmetra doing a hell of a lot of work, especially if they're going to be pulling out their barriers so quickly in that fight.
Yeah, indeed, and in that kind of situation you have to, but Swifty does absolutely not need to drop that soon.
Ooh, yeah, that was not good times, especially since they're probably going to be using that Coalescence to force through to get that 1/3 of point that they need.
Yeah, and if you're popping that Coalescence, pretty much the only two people to watch out for are Pillow, and Solar Oracle. The only two people capable of really stopping that before it gets going with the Sleep and with the Shield Bash. But I doubt Swifty's going to be in the position to take those cooldowns either way.
Yeah, it has quite the range, but Beach diving in just a little too far outside that range. He's going to be the first to go down again, and he goes right into the Shatter of Hall Goat, because no bubble means no shields, means no defense from the Shatter, and it's cleanup on Isle Eichenwald.
Yeah, and I mean, if they really want to try to take advantage of Pillow's death, they need to go in quickly. That is going to be Team Ragnor needs to go in very quickly, because Ana is going to have that long walk back, but it doesn't look like they're going to quite be able to. Oh, and Tubesot going massive on that grab.
Tubesot absorbing it. Beach goes nuts on the Primal, lighting up the kill feed, and there finally US Miller falls, and this might be the bad fight that Ragnor was looking for, and there it is. They take the tick, they take the map.
Yeah, Ollie, I believe, was on the Zarya, and just that's got to be so demoralizing. You see it, that's the one thing you need to really lock that team into place and just take advantage of all those high ramp up damage dealers, the Sim, the Torb, but it just did not seem to lock in place. And with the grab, that was just eaten. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a miserable situation for any Zarya to be in. I'm sure many Zarya players have been there, and now, of course, our shame is being put on full display in the kill feed. Thanks for the update, Blizzard. Makes the caster job easier, but makes the shame grow higher. Solid map from both sides, but it's going to be another hero ban coming in for Cardinal eSports, and the Reinhardt didn't go over so well, but I wonder if their map pick will reflect it a bit better.
Yeah, I think that Ragnor is still showing that, especially not in spite of the Reinhardt pick, but perhaps in tandem with it, they're still able to run some really good comps. That Hammond kind of played perfectly with that triple DPS composition that they decided to run. And overall, I don't think you can fault Cardinal for that, because they couldn't have known that that would be the plan ahead of time. But I mean, there were a few instances of Lijiang where it was kind of hinted at. But overall, I think that Ragnar's still doing well to play without that Rein.
Yeah, again, just really solid play. The absence of the Reinhardt, again, not really slowing him down all that much, pulling off a full hold. So it's going to be them saving now Lucio, making sure once again that they have that speedy little bugger back on their side, and they're going to ban Route 66, getting rid of one of the straight escort maps right from the game. Cardinal eSports now going to have the opportunity to pick any map that isn't Route 66, and given the ban that they put on earlier for a particular map that Waltham likes, I wonder what they're going to be going for.
Yeah, who knows? There's still, I believe, looks like 5 maps in the rotation capable right now. I'm kind of expecting a King of the Hill map. I was expecting 66, but I'm either going to say Busan or Hanamura, and there you go.
That's a good, solid option for Cardinal eSports. They saw their immediate banning of Horizon Lunar Colony. The Lucio was already saved. Banning Zarya is a very solid option, but for Hanamura, there's a lot of compositions you can run that don't involve the champion weightlifter.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, because I think in this tournament, we've seen kind of Hanamura kind of transcend being a traditional, like, Rein Zarya hold at the gate kind of composition. I believe we saw a Bastion get rotated onto high ground so many times throughout here. We've seen the Symmetra kind of quick express onto point from the attacking teams, which kind of really reduces, the need for a Rein Zarya, because they can just bypass the chokehold entirely. So I think that it's going to be very curious as to what the teams can run here. But Zarya being banned kind of reduces the effectiveness of Rein. So who knows? It might be a 2-for-1 ban here.
Oh yeah, and some of the Symmetra play, speaking of which, that has come out is just utterly ferocious. And Spark, ooh, look at that. Ragnor actually going to be electing to start the attack on this particular map.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a return to form as we saw in Lijiang. So Ragnor in the red, Cardinal going to be looking more like Blue Jays. But overall, we'll see if that has any major impact. But I think that it might be a little bit more strong of a showing from Ragnor. Cardinal eSports not necessarily looking great on Eichenwald. Maybe they just had the first game adrenaline as is.
Yeah, they, I don't know. A full hold is a tough thing to break through, and yet not even a tick, but then they were looking pretty good themselves on defense. It's just Ragnor was able to pull out the offense that is needed to bust through. On Hanamura, it's going to be a similar situation. Of course, the map being different, but this is a place where we've seen the full holds come out before, and it ain't pretty.
Yeah, and when you're looking at the first half of maps, essentially hybrid maps are the same as assault maps, at least in terms of the type of objective you're trying to play. So, if we had never had any knowledge of the second half of Eichenwald or the second half of Hanamura, these two maps would basically be similar in concept, perhaps a little bit different in strategy and composition, but I think the tactics as far as how you want to win fights kind of stays the same.
Yeah, both maps also kind of featuring a pretty solid choke point with, there is, at least especially for Eichenwald, they've made some adjustments to how you can possibly sneak around that side, but Hanamura is even less forgiving in that regard. So Cardinal eSports is gonna, on this defense now, again in the blue, gonna have to be strutting some really solid stuff with their own Zarya to take advantage of that ban.
Yeah. And it's looking like it's going to be the classic goats comp this time with a Zenyatta, which is I think kind of become the standard in terms of goats comps. You don't see the Ana as much, you don't see the Moira as much, but we'll just have to see how they play up here, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, with Ragnor coming in, of course, with that Symmetra, which is a very popular pick on Hanamura. Unbelievable! Paige goes charging into the choke. What even the heck was that? Such aggression. Their choice of attack first is now clearly on display.
Yeah, and Beach doing the classic Beach Reinhardt play, just going for the massive charge. You know, what the hell? Just going for it. But we'll see if it ended up paying off or perhaps was a little bit of a misplay.
I think that could have been possibly the biggest fake out of all time. They brought a Symmetra to the party and then didn't use the teleporter to engage on the map. They just walked there. And unfortunately, though, despite the excellent, but then again, a major shatter could be reversing that. I was about to say the big man advantage was kind of a problem, and bam, it was. And it's going to be a huge clear out by Cardinal eSports.
Yeah, we say huge clear out, but right now it's just all going at unicorns here right now. It was 1v1 on point for Baby Diva versus Lucio. You know, that's not bad for Cardinal. I mean, ideally you don't want to lose the point, but I think that they took what was looking like a surely lost fight and making it look a little bit recoverable.
I think they almost turned it around entirely with that massive shatter coming in, but I don't even know how that happened. Oh, right, it's Unicorn Syrup with, what was it? The Boostio Lucio.
Yeah, indeed, that's just what has to happen. Ollie, however, not going to be too bothered by the loss of that shatter. Just bringing out the Winston. Dive tanks, Ollie's a little bit more comfortable on it anyway.
And there it is, Beach charging into the enemy lines, grabbing the Diva, picking up the ult charge, shattering the entirety of the backline. And Ragnor, despite the far mercy in the skies, taking this point in almost record time, booping Ollie away before he can get back on. Over 6 minutes left.
Yeah, that is massive from Ragnor. I certainly was not expecting that. Judging by the mid-fight of, the first engagement, it was looking like the teams would be, very scrimmy, going one way and then the other, but to just see them, take essentially 5 deaths from point and just rush onto second with that. I mean, it's not unbelievable, but it's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, it's a snowball potential that I think is kind of almost the ideal. We're operating from an almost entirely disadvantageous position in terms of our spawns, but we have the ult, so let's do it anyways, and do what they did. Beach's aggression, again, coming out there on point B, this time to some really solid effect.
Yeah, and even though Beach being the first one to die in this match, still looking like it might have been a little bit of a boon for the team. It certainly did seem to discombobulate Cardinal a little bit, and now they're going to have quite a task ahead of them if they want to make this offense look as good as Ragnar's.
Yeah, now in this situation, even a tie is beneficial to them, as since this is best of 5, we have a bit of flexibility, and the opportunity for Cardinal eSports to take this point in, of course, as quick a time is not to be underestimated. But looking at the defense coming out now from Team Ragnor, it looks like they're definitely going to be making this hard.
Yeah, I do not expect Ragnor to kind of go softly into that night. We're going to be seeing what's looking like the pulled pork combo with the blender. So Spark on that Bastion, capable of just shredding the pulled pork even finer, as it were. So we're going to be seeing that come through. Unicorn Syrup going to be able to discord to add even more punch to this already lethal combo.
A delicious composition, but they're setting up in the exact place that I would never have expected them to do so. Abandoning the high ground entirely, they want maximum visibility onto that choke, and they're going to let them come onto the point, and they're going to be fighting up here on the right side. The hook doesn't come away with anything, though, and with no kills left, it's going to be Cardinal eSports who get to dance around the point, let their cooldowns recharge, and basically force Ragnor to pick the fight with them.
Yeah, Beach using that grab, or that mini grab a little bit too early, not able to synergize with the Rhine or with the Hog, or I'm sorry, with the Hog or with the Bastion, and really perhaps a little bit of a misplay. You'd like to spend that grab just to get that pull, that lethal combo coming out, and the kills, at least initially, coming through for Cardinal.
Yeah, and massive anti-nade from US Miller, defying the Zenyatta composition, is going to be the huge clutch for that. Ollie charging in there, gonna get his shatter online very quickly. And boy, had ever do Cardinal eSports have a shot at taking this map faster even than Ragnor.
Yeah, they have to be careful. Spark going to be able to relocate very easily with Goofum on that sim. That teleporter has a lot of potential relocation capabilities. But I think they're going to try to drag them onto point here. They will get ticks for free if it does not come through with a contest from Ragnor.
Yeah, and Ollie's Shatter, however, going to come out and get mostly nullified, and then he's going to fall. Beach going to pick it up, and Swifty going to resurrect Spark up there on the high ground, getting that tank configuration into the fight. That's not going to be good, but here comes the barriers to counter it. Spark's going to get denied almost entirely by D.Va, who takes the full brunt of the attack and then kills them anyways, with the ticks going to be coming in unless Ragnor can get bodies onto this point.
Yeah, the grab bomb combo looking like it's going to come in. Not quite coordinated as much as you might like to see that. But the sim wall even less effective when you just have one target to focus fire and they're already separated from their own wall.
So now the situation begins. It is the stall moment for Team Ragnor, who must get some semblance of a pick to make this into a much more longer stall. Unicorn Syrup now and the Lucio on the point. Tubestar coming back in, going to be dropping some major pile drives. He's going to build up to those mines eventually, but it's going to be depending on how quickly Ragnor can be eliminated from the point.
Yeah, and one thing worth noting, Hulko really doing some solid defense as Pillow on that Lucio gets ground pounded by the Hammond, puts up that defense matrix to make sure they can't get shot and shredded by that rolling ball of pain. So overall, some solid tank play that you like to see, and that's really what's crucial in holding this point offense.
Oh yeah, so this is the classic situation of the Hanamura defense that can possibly seem to go on forever. Fortunately for Cardinal eSports, they do manage to push Ragnor away just long enough to get that final tick done. But the damage was done, and they are going to come in with 5 minutes left.
Yeah, and these teams looking fantastic. I take back what I said about the team Cardinal looking a little bit anemic on Eichenwald. I think that these teams are showing great parity in both dynamics. When one team has a great offense, the other one seems to do so as well. And likewise with defense. I was talking a little bit of mess earlier, but Cardinal still able to hold quite a good defense on Eichenwald. Obviously not the full defense they needed to, but still proving that they are a force to be messed with in this series.
Yeah, no, I'm curious if we're going to see kind of Volskaya-esque scores coming in for this map. Seeing Volskaya team points going up to, 4s and 5s, not unexpected at all in the slightest. Hanamura, very much less so. Much more familiar with the 1-0 or the 2-1 or the 2-0 we are on this particular map. But with Cardinal coming in on the attack again, I'm now curious if we might be headed for another blistering offense.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Ragnor going to be placing the same faith in the pulled pork Bastion combo. Instead going with a triple DPS Spark on that Torb. Yet to see a lot of Torb play on this map, but I'm reluctantly open to it.
Yeah, I'm going to call out Defran for showing off some crazy turret drop locations thanks to Torbjorn's new ability to toss that turret. But it looks like instead it's going to be just kind of like that same setup where the Bastion was. Again, all high ground ignored, and they're going to go to the point with no resistance whatsoever, except US Miller got left behind, killed before they could get back into the rest of their team. And this strategy definitely pulling through for Ragnor, who with that D-Mech on the D.Va have solidified their victory in the first team fight.
Yeah, it's a little peculiar to see US Miller get killed first, getting actually stuck by the Junkrat trap. You got to wonder if the entirety of their team kind of maneuvered around it and US Miller was just caught out, or if US Miller was really kind of taking the forefront and rushing onto point as that, I guess, leading the charge on a... either way, Tubesock really doing well to catch that target out, and the focus fire just definitely seemed to be there from Ragnor.
And yet there it is. Look at this filthy turret position. It's hidden by the boulder, but it's still able to fire over it. That's ridiculous. I can't believe that isn't patched out. But I guess that's the kind of, exploitation of terrain that maybe the devs like to see. The turret does go down earlier onto the fight, though, and Junkrat gets to rain hellfire down on Cardinal eSports, who's now trapped in this building.
Yeah, indeed. That is a situation you like to see as that Junkrat, especially when they go into these tight corridors. Having that capability to just fire 5 pills in there, and even if only 2 of them hit, that's still quite a bit of ult charge. But speaking of ult charge, we're going to see a lot coming on for Ragnor, not as much for Cardinal.
And yeah, Jank switching onto the Widowmaker looks like it was just what the doctor ordered, but Spark gonna be cleaning up the point anyways. No Reinhardt means no point. And with another little Molten Core kill onto Pillow, despite Janks' proficiency on the Widowmaker, they're not gonna be able to push this through as they get eliminated by Swifties and Rattle Mercy.
Yeah, Jenks kind of opened up the fight there, but it wasn't quick enough to react to the defense that was kind of being pushed into Cardinal. Cardinal looked like they were slowly moving to point, but Ragnor wanted to push into them before they even got the opportunity.
Yeah, and now it's going to be a nice 3-3 coming in for Cardinal eSports. Or sorry, 2-2. Nice 3-3. 2-2 with a Rhine Roadhog going to be supported by US Miller with a speed boosted Deadeye who's going to pop away TubeSock. Swifty goes down early. I don't know what Ragnor was prepping for, but any ult being thrown in by anyone at this point is just a solid waste, as Boyd is this point going to fall to Cardinals. Again, blistering offense.
Yeah, US Miller really doing well to get the TubeSock kill with that on that Junkrat rather. You definitely want to eliminate TubeSock, especially since they had that Riptire up. And one Riptire, as we've seen already in this series, can absolutely spin a fight in a direction you don't necessarily want it to go if you're the team against it.
Speaking teams against, Spark going to be having them contend with a Genji. They're not abandoning this very punchy composition. It did work pretty well on the earlier point, taking about 2 minutes for them to cap it. And Widow pulling up the sights, though. Jank's already shown some solidness on that Widowmaker. I wonder if that Sombra is going to have a little bit of a daring contest.
Yeah, not quite sure if I like the Genji against a Moira as well as US Miller on that McCree. The flashbang as well as the insta-lock on can be very potent, but Solar Oracle taking a dive as they pop that Coalescence.
Oh no, despite 2 kills coming in with the Beach Mines though, it's going to be Cardinal eSports demonstrating some incredible hit scan proficiency. US Miller especially switching over to that McCree and getting the kills they need. Going to have that Deadeye online soon.
Yeah, US Miller taking this high ground, I think that's exactly where he's going to feel most comfortable playing, and almost up to another Deadeye, as you said. I'm going to be looking for it.
And wow, Ali throws the whole hog. The fight is not necessarily won in terms of that team victory. High Noon comes down to the point as well, but they haven't built up any kind of presence yet, and they haven't built up the tick. And now the late hack comes in. TubeSock goes down, though. They're not going to be able to get that tire combo off of it. And with the defensive barriers, Valkyrie coming in as well. There is, though, here comes that tire. But the one's already gone. Jags is going to pick up that kill anyways, and they're going to keep them from getting a tick with so many ults committed.
Yeah, Pillow getting off that sound barrier. Thinking for your Goofum, you'd like to have saved that EMP for the sound barrier, really kind of wipe out all those shields you provided, or that were provided to the enemy team. But in the end, I think it's still going to flow in favor of Ragnor. Well, it's obviously going to flow in favor of Ragnor, and I don't think you can necessarily be too disappointed if you're Goofum.
Yeah, and there you go. Look at that. They have the ultimates necessary to pop up the rest of the fight. Spark finally going to have that blade. It's not going to really have a lot to combo on it unless Unicorn Syrup's going to drop his barriers at the same time, or maybe Beach is going to throw his mines out just for maximum crowd control. And with a minute left, though, Cardinal eSports, with no ults to speak of, despite possibly a Coalescence in the next fight, definitely has their work cut out for them.
Yeah, and Swifty looking like they're going to be trying to give the damage boost to Spark. Really try to keep eyes on that, maximize the utility from that Genji Blade, and I think that getting a few initial kills off of it is really what they kind of need to open up this fight.
Yeah, and Ali, however, pulling a Beach, jumping in very quickly, but they, however, are going to get out of that alive. Discord now showing up on Beach, but it's going to be TubeSock popping the kill on Janks very early. No Zenyatta means no Discord, and that's going to be Sparks' opportunity to go straight in. There definitely wasn't going to be a trans even if it was close. And so many kills coming in for Ragnor with 15 seconds left. This is going to be a filthy fight for Cardinal eSports if they even manage to get back onto the point to stall.
Yeah, and one thing worth noting, Spark popping that Dragon Blade caused Solar Oracle to have to leave out the side door going towards Cliffside, which means the Coalescence wasn't available for the attacking team for a little bit longer, and that Coalescence was available in the fight. Who knows, maybe it goes a bit different way, maybe the offense stays up a little bit longer, but we're going to see them dropped by the numbers now.
Yeah, and the stall, again, it's just a big stall fest coming in for Cardinal eSports, who do not have a chance to take this point back. Their Hanamura journey is over, but completing that first point is huge if they can keep Ragnor from doing the same.
Yeah, I would love to see perhaps a flip the script kind of situation here, where Cardinal now brings out that Bastion Orisa Hog combo and tries to utilize it to its potential. 6 minutes is going to still be a beefy hold, but given how their offense has looked, I don't think either team kind of has it out of their wheelhouse to perform that.
Even if we assume that Cardinal eSports pulls off the same point A hold, but no further than, let's say, Ragnor did, that's going to be 2 minutes off the clock. And again, they'll have a 4 minute defense on point B, which is nothing new. Hanamura is no stranger to the long holds, but if Cardinal Esports can pull it off, we have ourselves a bit of a game of Overwatch. And with the defense, however, that they're going to be coming out with, yes, there you go. US Miller onto the McCree, and with the Zarya, that's going to be some sick Deadeye action that I cannot wait to not.
Yeah, indeed. I think that one of the things also to keep an eye out for, if Cardinal decides, hey, we're just going to try to go for the draw, get a couple more games in, really kind of show our stuff, then what they need to do is, it sounds obvious, not lose the first fight. We've seen so much snowball potential when the first fight gets lost because the winning team obviously just has so much ult advantage. And with that, they're able to just pile drive onto point. But once we see the second and the third fight come through, it starts to look a little bit more equalized, which is going to be good if you get pushed back to that second point.
Yeah, and Beach's aggression should not be a stranger to them. They should be expecting this, and there it is. This time they use the Symmetra portal. They get onto the point. They pick up a tick almost immediately. US Miller's going to grab that kill into Swifty, but the damage is done, and Beach is actually going to grab Ali. I don't even know what happened to Spark. He just vanished into the wraith-like darkness. So his damage is not going to be a part of this fight, but the man advantage is there. And Jace gets picked up by the charge, so he's out too. The healing in Discord big, and a Boop going to pick up the Brigida. It's going to be Guffum now going down, but this fight looking very good for Ragnor.
Yeah, it's looking good mostly because of the respawn, but US Miller taking down Beach, that is a large health pool as well as a lot of staying power that is going to be removed. Doesn't seem to be bothering them too much quite yet.
Yeah, I don't know if I was Ragnor. I think some target priority readjustment needs to happen. There it is. Unicorn Syrup and Roadhog going to grab US Miller out of the fight, and with a major source of damage gone, that's going to be ages to get back to the point. This one's only a matter of time to fall to Ragnor.
Yeah, and I don't think that that was too convincing of a fight for Ragnor to them just to burst onto the second point and take it immediately. I'm going to risk the caster curse here, but I'm going to say that I think that that fight went on long enough. Ollie able to stay on point long enough to get the team to regroup and be able to make a concerted effort to hold here.
With Shatter Barrier and Deadeye coming online, I'm pretty inclined to agree, doubling down on the potential curse there. Coalescence, Reaper, rather a Whole Hog, and a Barriers, that's a solid combination, but no real damage potential. And a big Shatter comes into the backline, though it's not going to grab anyone. Ali gets caught out line, and yes, with the bubble, he is unfortunately going to go down, despite the bubble. Tubesock getting the sick kill onto Pillow, and another blistering charge onto the point. And remember, they only need a tick because they couldn't get it from the previous Cardinal Esports thing. But the man advantage is real, and Spark is going to keep piling up the kills.
Yeah, and I guess the casters are once again wrong. As we said, we are not infallible, but oh my goodness, it was perhaps a little bit of a misplay for Ollie to go for that Earth Shatter. I believe that two members had to dive onto the point of the defending team, that is of Cardinal, to really kind of get onto point and contest with that Sombra that hopped on there, which means that the follow-up was significantly hampered, and so it's not. It just wasn't there as much.
Yeah, again, Overwatch being that team kind of game situation, and there was a lot of problems that went up into that initial defense. Having your Reinhardt and your Lucio go down early into the fight, probably a major contributing factor.
Yeah, I would definitely tend to agree. But Team Ragnor, overall coming out of this match set alive, I'm going to be seeing them go into the next bracket of the next round of the losers bracket. But we're going to go ahead and have, it looks like a little bit of interview here in just a little bit. But before we do, you folks at home know I have to plug that MVP vote. Make sure you vote down there. We are going to be revealing it in just a few moments. So we'll see who you guys think was the best pop-off player of the day this evening.
Oh yeah, you gotta do it. You gotta grab that panel. It's right down there below the stream. Check it out. Click your favorite. I think we have a lot of really awesome options coming in from both teams. I know, right? Again, Ragnor taking the 3-0, but that was not the easiest swipe. But here we have it, your post-game interview. Ladies and gentlemen of the chat, welcome to Swifty.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, we are doing pretty dandy.
Well.
Congratulations out there.
It was a lot of fun.
I can imagine. So I'm going to go by your player icon and possibly your hero choices throughout the match that you are not really a huge fan of Mercy.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Mercy statue on my shelf right now thinking that it was a massive waste of money. I am Mercy trash.
As a fellow owner of the same statue.
Really?
Boy, I hope not. But so given your propensity for the character, what tips do you have for battle Mercy adherence?
Oh, you guys saw that? That's my bad.
We saw it.
Okay. It's strange being a Mercy player because, of course, you get a ton of crap for all the other Mercy mains out there who can only heal, don't know how to damage boost, but don't be afraid to pull out that pistol every once in a while. If the Widow's annoying you and she's giving you crap, click on her head.
Love it.
I mean,
I love it.
So,
Look, I Hate Widow is a approved chat emote in this tournament for
I
a
noticed
reason.
that. Yeah.
So Team Ragnor, you guys made it out. You survived the losers bracket for one more round. You get to go on to the next tournament. Spark had mentioned before the match that quad DPS composition was something you guys maybe were a fan of but hadn't worked on. For your next match, given how successful it was, are you gonna be hitting that a little harder?
I definitely see us doing that and practicing it a little bit more. To be honest, I think we all felt like we were really rusty that match with the quad DPS, but it's something we'll be working on.
I can't blame you guys in the slightest. I'm going to have to say it. Cardinal eSports definitely put up an incredible fight, but, Team Ragnor doing a lot of work. Now, as a Mercy player, and I'm going to ask this one as a fellow Mercy player, but also as a Reinhardt.
Same, actually.
How do you feel about Beach?
Beach. I love him to death when I can keep him in my So I appreciate his aggressive play style, and I will say as a team that it is difficult to keep up with him, but rewarding when I do keep up with him. So he's a much better player than me.
I wouldn't go that far necessarily, but hey, I think the results definitely speak for themselves. The combination that your teams had tonight was super excellent. So thanks for joining us. Good luck in your future Watcher and Overwatch endeavors.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been Swifty from Team Ragnor, who will move on through the Watchers Tournament. Cardinal Esports, we will say goodbye to them, hopefully not for good. I've been 3.007. You can catch me on Twitter and Twitch at 3.007.
And likewise, on the other side of the casting table, I've been Sir Waltham on Twitch and Sir Waltham Gaming on Twitter.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, and before we do go, Threep, we do have the MVP. We hyped it up. It'd be rude to not give it to the people. Sorry, folks. Almost forgot.
Worst. Waltham, since you were the one who kept me from committing an egregious sin, why don't you take it away?
Now, it is looking like TubeSock is going to be the MVP for this game. And Team Ragnor, I think, it was earned. Helping Team Ragnor definitely get these wins today. Congratulations, TubeSock. Congratulations, Ragnor. And what else can you say? It was just excellent play.
Yeah, really solid play on a lot of different heroes. So once again, we're going to try this one more time. Have a good night, everyone, and be sure to be good at it.
Absolutely. Have a good night and stay safe.